Beautiful voice. There we go. And let's start admitting people. Okay. Okay, I just added a couple of people. Good evening, everyone. Welcome aboard. Bear with us. We are still taking attendance and just waiting for people to join, but sit back in the meantime and your patience is appreciated. Okay, this looks like this might be a smaller group than I expected. We can give it another 30 seconds and we'll get started. Okay, I think I'm just going to go ahead and get started if that's okay, Anya. And as more people join, we can catch them up. But yeah, good evening, everyone. Welcome to our monthly DC Solar Action Team meeting. My name is Sukrit Mishra. I am the DC Program Director. I do see a few familiar faces, some of them not so much. But yeah, just to introduce our team real quick, we have on board Anya Schoolman, who's our founder and executive director. We have Alexis Miller, who is our Director of Community Impact, just to make sure I got that right. And we have Liz Weezy, who is our Policy and Rural Energy Director. And yeah, this is our Sun team. And why don't we just go around and do a quick set of introductions and what you're looking for out of this meeting. So to get us started, I'll just pick on Tom. Tom, I did see you in the meeting last month, but why don't you just introduce yourself real quick?
Sure. Tom Hazer. I live in Southwest DC. I led the charge for putting solar on our condo building. It got voted down by our board. I am talking with Honeydew Energy Advisors to find out if it's possible to have community solar for our common area. And he's kind of researching that as we speak. So that's kind of where I'm coming from.
Awesome. Thank you, Tom. And I do remember that discussion and, but sorry, Anya, go ahead.
Tom, why do you need Honeydew for a community solar? Why can't you guys just buy it? I mean, you don't mean to develop it on your building. You just mean to subscribe to it?
Yes. As I understand it, I mean, I have community solar for my own condo unit in our building, but for our common area, Julian Bellotti, who I assume you know at Honeydew, he said he needed to talk to these companies about whether they can set up a subscription for the common area of a condo rather than an individual owner.
Oh, I see. Okay.
Yeah.
Awesome. And David, can you go next?
Sure. Me?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Can you guys hear me?
Yes, sir.
All right. Thanks. My name is David Rubinstein, and I joined the co-op. And so I have probably spent the last month or 6 weeks getting educated about solar, which is something that I have been interested in a while, but have not really spent the time to really focus a lot of attention to educate myself. So I've learned a ton, and Sun has been a great resource. So it's really been interesting. So I'm at the point where I'm trying to make my own decision. And I'm just trying to connect with people to collect as much information as I can. I live in North DC. It turns out that my house, I don't have ideal exposure. I have good exposure, but it's the payback period will be a little bit longer than it might be for other people. And so one of the things I'm just thinking about now is, the SREC prices has been sort of moving downward and projected to move downward. So I'm sort of interested in trying to figure out if maybe that trajectory will change. I understand that Councilmember Che just introduced a bill that actually could reverse that course. So that's one of the questions I'm studying right now and making my decision.
Yeah, we'll definitely talk about that bill during this meeting.
Awesome. And Amy?
Hi, Amy Hubbard, live in the southeast edge of Capitol Hill. Just attending to find out what's going on and figuring out ways to plug in. And I'm a little distracted because I got like 2 meetings going at once. I'm trying to sort of pay attention to the Citizens Climate Lobby meeting while we're talking here. So, but I think there's going to be more interchange in this one. So I will glance over there once in a while, but I'm ready to talk here about what we're doing. Thanks.
Thank you. And I believe we have a couple more. So Carol, can you go next?
Yeah, hi, Carol Lewis Anderson. I live in Georgetown. I have solar panels on my house, and I'm attending the meeting just to learn more so that if testimonies are needed or further action to make solar more widely available, I want to be part of that. And thank you for all your work.
Thank you for being here. And we have one more new, I believe it's Russ. Am I saying it right?
That's correct. I've been dealing with solar for a number of years. I'm an advocate in my community. I've talked many of my neighbors into the adoption of solar. It's been wonderful. I'm here because I'm just very interested in where solar is going, not just on a local level, but on a national level.
Awesome, and thank you for being here. So I think that covers everyone. Just to go through the agenda real quick before we get into all the dense stuff, but if you guys can see it in the chat, I believe someone just joined. I believe Nate just joined us, but I'll just go through the agenda real quick. Nate, welcome aboard. But once I get done with the agenda, why don't you just introduce yourself, Nate? And so we have done the introductions. We usually have people reporting back about some of the tasks or deliverables that, they have been delegated. I do not think anyone's reporting anything back today. Correct me if I'm wrong. But besides that, we'll just get a few policy updates from Liz. We will go over the Pepco CREF credit case. We'll go over the local solar expansion amendment. And then besides that, we'll also cover some of the advocacy stuff we're doing in the region. And time permitting, if people do have some questions about the co-op itself, I'll be happy to lead a breakout room and answer any questions around that. And I think that covers everything. And should we get started with the updates, or how do you guys want to do this, team?
I think Nathan was going to introduce himself, maybe.
Yes, indeed. Nate, you have the floor. Can you just introduce yourself and what you're looking for?
Yeah, hi, I'm Nathan Pavlovic, and we went solar with Solar United Neighbors in the fall last year. So super excited to, be a supporter of solar stuff, and just wanted to join the call and learn more about it, and policies and things that may impact our solar here in the district. Apologies, my 4-month-old daughter is here with me.
No apologies necessary. Thank you for being here. And let's get started. Any updates we want to go over? Anya,
Do you have any quick co-op updates you want to do, Sucrete? And then I can do policy.
Sure can. Yeah, I can go over the co-op to get us started. So for people who are new over here, there's that option of going solar on your own, which is great. And, that's something we always encourage. But again, something our organization, not just in DC, but across the 12 states and Puerto Rico that we specialize in, is the co-op model. It's based on bulk purchase where we have people who live in one specific region come together, join this group, and the bigger the group, the more economical that bulk purchase price is for the co-op. And we help people go solar as a part of this co-op. And the benefits are, besides the obvious, which is the economical pricing, but members also get consistent support from our team on the back end. We answer any questions that they have during the co-op and even after the co-op. And to be specific, here in the DMV, in DC, Maryland, and Virginia, we are running what we call the Capital Area Co-op. It's made up of 3 individual co-ops. One's in DC, one's in Arlington and neighboring regions, and the other one's in Montgomery County in Maryland and neighboring regions. To focus on the one in DC, it's being covered by Solar Solution this year. As of this morning, we have 30 signed contracts in that group. We have another 25 people who are sitting on proposals. I am leading that co-op. I'm mediating any discussions between co-op members and Solar Solutions, and just answering any questions that members might have. So I do know towards the end of this meeting, I will be happy to answer any questions about the co-op, but yeah, that's what the whole co-op is all about. And, we are into the last month of the co-op. We are inviting people to join the group until the end of August. And then after that, it is a time-bound group, so it's going to be closed to new members after August 31st. So if you do have friends or family or folks who are interested in going solar, you can always, promote or spread the word amongst them. And I will drop the link in the chat. And yeah, that's it for me.
The link's in the chat.
Oh, awesome.
Did you say the 21st or the 31st of August?
The 31st.
31st. So we have 1 month, and if every single person on this call could tell 5 people about the co-op, we could blow it up. So I just want to encourage you to think, if there's one neighbor all you got to do is email them the link, say, check it out. These are great people. It's a nonprofit. They're here to help. It's no cost, no obligation to sign up. We almost entirely rely on word of mouth, especially people like some of you who are like Nathan. Nathan, you're the one that said you went solar with us last year, right?
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah. So we especially rely on people like you who've been through the process and had a good experience and could tell other people. And almost everybody knows a few people who might be interested. So, and if you want to do more, definitely check in with Sucrit. We can also give you flyers or fancier emails to send to people. But sometimes just the simple email with the link and a little note is the best way to do it.
Absolutely. And I do work out of the office near DuPont Circle. So, I'm happy to give you flyers or yard signs or what have you and help spread the word. But besides that, if you have any questions, you can reach out to us at DC team, or if anyone else has questions, they can reach out to us on that email. And I will be hosting calls. They're called Go Solar consultations for 15 minutes with people across the US on Wednesday. So I'll be also dropping that link, and I'll be happy to answer any questions. And I will hand it over to you, Liz.
Okay, cool. Well, yeah, if people have urgent co-op questions, maybe you can put them in the chat for now. But good overview. Thanks, Sucrit. So yeah, on the policy front, there are a number of good things happening. One thing that we're tracking is docket at the Public Service Commission in DC that we helped get the PSC to open around an investigation into PEPCO's crediting around the community solar credits, or I think officially they're called CREFs, or community renewable energy credits. And we're tracking that case, and we we're technically not an official party, but we have made filings around that, and we're tracking it. I think we may be filing comments, Anya, particularly around the investigation of Pepco, but we're hoping that that will help fix the problems at, oh, thanks, Anya, fix the problems at Pepco and make sure people get these credits. They pushed back the deadline, so there's initial filing due tomorrow and then replies in August, and then hopefully that investigation will start. Do you want to add on any more about that, Anya?
No, I just want to clarify that it's really about community solar and about a Pepco losing the credits or not applying, especially in the low income Solar for All program that we are particularly if you follow the proceeding, it's public. It's just really hard to wade through. Pepco's basically just their excuse, even though they do not contest that they have not provided the credits for more than 6,400 households.
Is it just me or
No, we lost.
Anya?
Anya, you're in and out a lot.
Yeah.
Really? I wonder why. You can finish for me. I was just giving a little bit of more color commentary on it.
Yeah, and I think Anya broke up where she was saying that like there's at least 6,400 people, many of them low income folks who are supposed to be saving from these community solar credits who are not getting appropriately credited. So it's really horrible. And it's been going on for years, and Pepco keeps saying, oh yeah, our billing system is hard. It's hard for us to deal with, but we're hoping that this docket will help resolve that situation. So we're tracking that. There's not really anything for other folks to do yet, but we will keep people posted. We may try to do some media, get some media articles to bring more attention and pressure for resolving that and resolving it faster. We may need to take action on that. One other exciting thing that I think one of you mentioned in your introductions is this Local Solar Expansion Amendment Act of 2022 that Councilmember Che introduced, and a bunch of other council members have, co-introduced it. It builds on the renewable energy standard that DC first created in 2004. And the key pieces of it is that it keeps the compliance payment for the utility at 50 cents per kilowatt hour instead of it dropping down, which should help keep SREC prices higher. And it raises the solar carve out from 10%, from a goal of 10% in 2041 to 15% solar by 2041. And it increases the percentage a little bit every year, starting in 2023 at 3%, and then it goes up every year to reach the 15% by 2041. And there's a hearing that's already scheduled for that bill on October 3rd at 12:30. Anya, do you want to say anything else about that?
I'll try. Here is, no, that's not it. Was going to repaste, maybe Alexis, you can repaste the link. It's the top link in our chat. In the chat, you'll see the hearing notice, and it's open to anybody. And this is, where we come into action, is having anybody show up. So think about showing up, or think about, it's really some of the most compelling testimony is from regular people coming in and talking about why solar is important to them. And it really impacts the council. For those of you who are in Capitol Hill, Charles Allen is usually super supportive. And this bill is was sort of a farewell outgoing bill from Mary Che, who is leaving the council. We're in a different ward, and it's be important for anybody. Like, the more people that show up, the better. And we are happy to provide talking points and things like that when we get closer. I encourage people to sign up. But if you're in any other ward, we really need you, because we need, 4, 5, 7, and 8 too. All of those. 1, 2, 4, what are you guys on the Hill? You're 4. All right. 1, 2, 5, 7, and 8. Oh, you're in 6. Yeah. So 1, 2, 4, 5, 7, and 8 is what we need. 3 and 6 were good. Sorry, that was a long ramble there. It's not till October, so we have plenty of time, but maybe stick it on your calendar. The hearings are always available virtually. I don't know if you can testify virtually. You can watch them, they stream them, but I think the testimony is in person, but we'll double check that.
Yeah, I can double check that. And we will definitely send an email to everyone on our list in DC, and we'll post something to the listserv if folks are on the listserv. And I think one of my colleagues can post something in the chat about how to get on the listserv if you're not, but we'll definitely share information about how to attend the hearing as that comes up. But yeah, that is definitely exciting. And then not in DC, well, sort of in DC, but not related to DC policy, but national policy. Many of you probably heard that Manchin has finally actually agreed to a deal on something related to climate. So that's really exciting. And the one thing that, the one piece I was going to highlight is that the tax credit, the investment tax credit, or ITC for solar, is proposed in there to be back to 30% for systems placed in service starting January 1st of this year through the end of 2032. So basically 10 years from January 1st of this year at 30%, and then it steps down to 26% in 2033 and 22% in 2034. And this bill proposes that it will also include battery systems. So that's pretty exciting. And I was just going to also highlight that.
The bill also has really huge grant programs for low income, all sorts of low income projects, but pollution projects, energy projects, solar projects. It's not exactly clear, the details all remain to be worked out, but on the level of billions of dollars potentially going into low income solar. Questions, comments, thoughts?
I think Tom has his hand up, so you have the floor, Tom.
Thank you. Yeah, my question is related to what Liz just talked about. When you talked about the solar carve out going to 15% in 2041, that's very obvious to me how that would support SREC prices. But the first part you talked about went over my head. You said something about the 50 cents per kilowatt hour or something. I didn't quite get that.
Yeah, Anya, you're more familiar with this. Do you want to talk about the compliance payment and what that means?
Sure, I'm happy to. If I start, wave if the internet goes out again. So the SREC, the SRECs, which you get, for those of you who haven't gone solar yet, that's what you sell, the green value for energy, and it helps make solar more affordable. And it's set by this state law that requires Pepco to purchase a certain amount of locally generated solar every year. And if they do not do that, they have to pay a fine. And that's what this ACP is. And the fine is set at right now it's $450 per megawatt. And which is what is essentially makes the ceiling of the most that you could ever sell an SREC for, because if it was $451, it would be cheaper for them to pay the fine than to buy the SRECs. And so this bill raises it from 450 to 500 and increases the total amount required. So there'll be a slightly higher ceiling if this bill goes through. But more importantly is the much larger quantity required. I expect really strong opposition to this solar bill. I think that the Public Service Commission and the People's Council and a lot of advocates for are going to claim, whether it's true or not, that they're concerned that increase rates, and 15% is a large DC's well under, I think, 1% right now, as much as we've spent on solar. And we don't really have a game plan to get to 15%. So there's going to be a big fight over this.
If I could just a follow-up question. I hear the ACP going to 500. And how long would it stay at 500? Is it proposed to stay at 500 for like 3 or 4 years or what?
It's proposed to stay at indefinitely and not step down, is the way the bill is currently written. It could always be amended, right? It could be changed, but
remember, that's the ceiling, not the actual price.
Right.
So like right now, the ceiling is 450, and our SRECs, what are they at right now? Secret, do you know, 280 or something?
380, 305.
300.
I think it was 310 last week, but
310. So around 300. So depending on supply and demand, in theory, the number would go down, but this would be really, cranking the gears a bit.
Thank you. I'm thinking David Rubinstein, excuse me, is pretty excited to hear about this bill.
any other questions, comments? No.
I have another question. I mentioned at the intro that I am speaking with Honeydew Energy Advisors about having community solar for the common area of my building. So my question is, does anybody on this call know of a condominium who has community solar for its common area rather than for its individual units? Anybody know of one?
I don't, I've talked to so many condos, but usually they're doing the actual panels on the roof.
Oh,
Anya, can you just rewind 10 seconds? We lost you there.
The short answer is no. There's so many condos that we've worked with that have tried to put solar on the roof, but I don't know if any, it's not to say that they haven't, I just don't know. And we can certainly ask around. We'll ask Corey, who is our lead for community solar, whether he knows of any condos that have done it, and we'll get back to you.
okay. I would love to break new ground there.
If it
You
helps.
should definitely post a question on the DC listserv too.
So we did cover this in the last Solar Action Team meeting, and I followed up with Corey the next day, and it kind of fell on the wayside because he was going to get in touch with people who had get in touch with condos who had pursued this. And I did post this on the listserv, but crickets, I did not get any responses. So I can try again, but Tom, sometimes like when one of the moderators is not posting every second post, people are a bit more attuned to the discussions. So I'm guessing people might be sick of me over there, but if it comes from you, you never know.
Well, I've got Honeydew is on the pursuit of this for me. So I've got a lot of faith in Julian over there. So I hope he can, I don't know why, logically to me, it seems like it should be very doable. I mean, because if you're a CREF and you are generating this electricity, why would you even care whether it's an individual owner or the common area or whatever? What you're doing is you're taking you're putting more renewable energy onto the grid, and that seems to be the point.
Right.
I wanted to share also about the Avalon, a little update, because I know we talked about it last time. We've been helping the Avalon movie theater. And Sukrit did an info session in person there last Saturday. And they are holding a fundraiser to buy their panels, which also supports the theater, which is a nonprofit theater. So if any of you go to the Avalon or know people up in that neighborhood, I donated, just the more people that pitch in, the better for that project. I don't know if do we have a live link for that?
Anya, can
I'll
I
find
drop
it.
that link over here? I have the link. I was just going to ask, we are a 501c3 nonprofit, so can we vouch for that? Can we drop that link here? Because I have it ready.
Yeah, of course. Why not? They're a 501c3. We're a 501c3.
There you go. That's the link. And the last time I remember when I did the presentation, they had covered 130 of those 200 panels. So they're looking for another $70,000. And every small bit of contribution helps.
That's another nice thing to share too. If you have like a neighborhood listserv, you could share our co-op and the Avalon thing. It's a big help. We've helped a lot of different nonprofits in DC over time go through this process. I'd like to encourage more questions or comments from our guests.
I don't see any hands up or comments, but
Amy, I know you follow a lot of different groups. Is there anything that's really exciting you that other groups are working on?
Well, I don't think I'm that knowledgeable about what everybody's doing, but I know with the DC Citizens Climate Lobby, I'm helping to focus on the at-large council race and collecting information about where people stand, whether they mention climate change or anything like that. So, and I know some people through that who maybe I could encourage, who are not in Ward 6, who maybe I could encourage to attend that October 3rd meeting. That's, I'm still pretty much a novice at this. So, but I'm hoping to at least have some kind of an impact on the at-large council race.
I'll just make a comment about something. I think I might have mentioned this in another meeting, but as I stated at the beginning, I tried to get solar for my condominium building, and the condo board vote went down in flames. But this process, this whole trying to make this happen was over the period of 1.5 years. And during that time, I learned a lot, and I think I played a small role in. I know 2 condos in DC that have purchased, or their condo board has voted unanimously to purchase solar for their building. And I was sort of consulting with them from a, from a condo perspective. And one of them is, it's called Fillmore Plaza Condos in Northwest. And if you look at their roof from the satellite image, it is a thing of beauty, because they are going to put it's something like 190 kilowatt system up there. It's huge. And they are going to be rolling in SREC money when, especially if this bill passes.
We should try to get someone from there to testify at the hearing.
You know what I will do? I will sign up to reach out to both contacts at both buildings to send them the link, which I just clicked on, and make them aware of this so that they could go and tell their story.
I think that covers everything on the agenda, Anya. Should we entertain co-op related questions, or what do you want to do next?
I think we should entertain any kind of question or comment that anybody wants to make. We're here to just everybody's at a different level with this stuff. Some people know a lot. Some people, this is the first day they're thinking about it. There's no dumb questions or comments, and I'd love to hear what people are thinking.
I'd like to just say something about my own experience with solar. Solar is probably the best investment I've ever made in my entire life. And if I had made these kinds of investments as a young man, I'd probably own a yacht in the Mediterranean right now. But you talk about how do you approach condominium boards and things like this. You can create for them real world numbers that they're going to see in terms of value and income over time. And I think that that's an important approach to dealing with actually anybody who wants to buy solar, but in particular condo boards, because condo boards have to cover expenses by increasing HOA fees, and nobody likes that. So but I have tracked my own investment in solar down to the kilowatt over many years, and it doesn't make any sense not to go solar. That's all you can say. So I encourage you to keep pushing your condo interests and get that work through.
Well, my condo, we do have a board election coming up in a couple months, and we may get a couple new board members who see things differently than the current people. But I actually feel some blame for the failure of this to get passed, because I think I had a very clear, even though our system was quite expensive, because of the nature of our roof, we required a canopy system to hold the panels above all the mechanical equipment. And even though the system was expensive, and when I say expensive, I'm talking $4.90 per watt. That's a high price. But still, in the long run, it was great for our condo, and no condo fee increase because we have cash in the bank. We have a ton of money in the bank, and we could have easily have done this. It's very frustrating for me personally. But like I say, if right now, it looks like the tax credits are going to fade away in the next 18 months. But if this bill, the Manchin, Schumer, or those guys, whatever, if it goes to 30% for 10 years and the solar carve out goes up to 15%, I mean, we'll be, my condo will be back voting on this again. I can promise you that in the future.
Carol, did you want to share the comment or you want me to read it for you, that you made in the chat?
Oh, sure. I mean, the comment very simply is that analysis of the convention center has been done. It's a huge roof. And I can't remember the statistics, but the output would be dramatic and satisfy the energy needs for the local community there. And a lot of us are just perplexed as to why the city hasn't done it or won't do it. And it's a conversation that we've been having with candidates for office this round, with the at-large candidates, et cetera. So we're hoping we can get some purchase on this subject.
Is the convention center wholly owned by DC or is it owned by a private company?
I think it is DC Events, which is DC, that anomalous entity that has so much money and nobody knows what it does.
Often there are public-private partnerships that own things like that. But I don't know.
Yeah, I don't have the information. I just was party to the discussions. And obviously, if it's possible, that's an easy to do. Flat, no trees, everything good.
David, do you have any questions related to your going solar process? Well, some people we're happy to hear them.
Yeah, as I said, my situation is, I don't know if it's unique, maybe unique to sort of the folks on this call, but there are portions of my roof that are just very shaded. And so, installing like my annual use would probably be about 10,500 kilowatt hours per year. And that's roughly the size of the system that my roof can accommodate, but it would produce less than that, probably somewhere between 7,000 and 8,000 kilowatts. So that's kind of the debate for me, is whether that kind of yield, because the sort of investment value of that, the payback time would take a lot longer. And I had been sort of looking at the dropping ASRAC prices and thinking that the risk is even higher, that the payback could take even longer, depending on what happens there. Which is why I was interested in the J bill, because if that were passed, that really could stabilize or reduce those prices, which were that risk for me. So that's sort of where I am with this debate. And then there's, of course, the other piece of it, which is just going solar is the right thing to do. So maybe I should just suck it up and deal with
it. Hey, David, I have a question for you.
Sure.
Do you mind if I ask you what you're currently looking at in terms of payback period? Because I was interested in what some people think a long time is versus a short time.
That's a fair question. Of course, it all depends on what the ultimate is, obviously, but probably the minimum, best case scenario, is probably 7.5 years, which isn't terrible. And I think maybe that might even be average. I don't know. But I don't know that I would be in the house for more than maybe 10 more years. So, in terms of investment, it's not necessarily a huge long-term investment for me. But, and it's a big outlay out front. So that's the other factor. It's just kind of taking all that cash and investing it. Obviously, the cost of financing now is just, with interest rates going up, it's just not a very smart thing to do. Does that strike you as a long payback period or no?
Well, the reason I ask is for my condo building, our estimate was that the payback period would be 6.5 years. And one of the reasons the board shot it down was they just thought that was too long. And I basically begged them to look at the 20-year projections, because if we were to buy it and put the solar on the roof, 6.5 years from now, we'd be sitting there going, man, am I glad we did that back in 2022. So, but they just, you know, we could pay cash for this system very easily. And, but it just didn't fly.
I guess there's two comforts, David, in terms of thinking about the money, a couple of things. Well, one, it'll help if the ITC goes back up to 30%. Two, the SRECs are based on the size, not the, so the shade doesn't impact the SRECs. Only the electricity. So you won't have a decreased SRECs earnings. And then the last is there's some people that keep the SRECs even if they sell the house and the panels. So you could potentially still be earning your SREC income living in Nebraska or something like that. There's no rules against it.
That's helpful. I didn't realize it was based on the size and not the actual production. I thought your SREC credits were based on production.
There are proceedings and conversations at the Public Service Commission that there may in the future have a production meter as a way to determine SRECs. But right now it's simply the size times size, azimuth orientation. You put that into PV watts, you get projected out. Run them, they just run them the math on it. So if it's actually stormy or snowy, it doesn't change the SREC income at all. It's based on a projected output, projected out an actual meter.
That's helpful. I probably should clarify, but I'm not the David Rubinstein that's a billionaire, so, but that may have been obvious from my comments.
Any other questions, comments? I think we have covered the SRECs part as extensively as we could, but if you still have doubts. Okay.
It's really nice to meet you all this evening. Nice to see you again, Amy and Tom, and nice to meet some new people, and just keep in touch. We're here and we're here to help and share your ideas and questions and get on the listserv. I didn't mean to cut you off, Secret. I meant to just say goodnight.
No, you're fine. I mean, I'm not going to end this early if you're on call, so I was waiting for you to take the lead. But yeah, I mean, I'll just drop our email again if you guys want to reach out after this. And yeah, thanks again for being here. It was...
Yeah, and I'm glad people are excited about the bill in DC and ways we can support that. So we will definitely follow up with reminders about the hearing in October and more ways that people can support that.
Love the baby picture. So adorable, Nathan. That's the best thing about Zoom is seeing people.
I was waiting for the baby pictures. That's why I stayed on the call.
Wait, which baby pictures I missed out on? Oh, I see it now. Okay, all I had to was
We got a baby, we got tacos. Been a very productive meeting. Thanks, everyone.
And beer. So there you go.
Yeah, and a beer. It's true. No, this is really great. Thank you all.
awesome. Thank you so much. And on that note, we can close this one out and have a good night, y'all. Thank you.